Not too long ago, I had a dream. I was coming out the shower and I looked down at myself with disgust. I had been like 2 years older than what I am currently. I felt like I was looking at myself in the future. You see, the week before, I was falling into some sort of depression. I wasn't like crying or anything. I was just taking reality for what it was. I was starting to accept the BS. You see, after college, a lot of kids are hit with the reality crisis. Finding a job is hard. Finding someone to love is even harder. I thought by just accepting reality, I would find peace. And there is some truth to that. A lot of people in the self-help space talk about learning to be grateful and whatnot, but it was less of that. It was more like watching my dreams die. I had two dreams that night. The disgusted one and the one where I was back in high school. It was science class and I was laughing with two new friends. I was doing schoolwork. You see, when I woke from that second dream, I had the realization that I needed to lock in and fast. I was so nervous that I would end up being alone and discussing with myself in 2 years. The problem was, there was no good advice online. I'm sick of the red pill mantra, work until your eyes bleed, drop shipping, pimping out girls, and side hustles. It just leads to stress and burnouts. I wanted something tangible, something realistic. I started studying in class harder than before. I started this YouTube channel. There were things that I was already doing, like going to the gym, but I started wondering, what did I actually want out of life? I could have a dream of going to a major city like Miami and tested the waters, or going to New York and living that corporate American dream. Maybe even LA. The thing that was and still is holding me back is, would that even matter? Would moving to a major city matter? Think about it. A lot of my content stems from self-help and beliefs on how the world operates, but a major understanding that I think I was coming to terms with in my dream is, no matter where I go, I might still be the worst version of me, alone in my apartment. My dream goal, which I'm told not to really mention, but I already did a couple of times, is to move to Miami, go to school there. Why? I don't really know. I love the heat, the water, the parties, and I actually like to go to school. The only problem is I have to wait until I graduate. That's over 2 years, and that's why I'm scared. In the dream, I was 2 years older, right? So what if that's so raven and saw my future where I had two choices? The one was me after I finished school, but I failed at paying attention. The second one was me who made the right choice and studied hard. Now, I'm not trying to say I'm prophetic, because that might be BS, but I am trying to say I think I was telling myself to lock in. Lock in so I don't have to keep clocking in at jobs I don't like. I was watching Euphoria. It was the scene where Rue and Maddie were talking, and the cowboy guy comes in, and before that, Maddie was talking about equanimity. Essentially, the differences in life have no consequences to me. Now, I'm really good at my job right now, I have to say. It pays the bill, and it's honestly really pretty. But it's not my dream job. It's a part-time job, but it pays like a full-time, which means I have the time to have a second job or start this channel. But what I realized recently is that all the money I'm getting paid is going straight to the garbage of having expenses. What I also realized is that no matter where I would be in life, because of the value I have, that's how life will always be. That's equanimity. Let me explain. Imagine a scenario where I did go to grad school. I would have no money there either, or at least very little, because I wouldn't be able to focus on school and have a job at least for the first year. Imagine after school, I have a degree. I would be making poop money because I'm new to the field, and again, would be giving 80% of my income to my expenses. Imagine it's 20 years from then and I finally get my life on track, but I have a divorce, which sucked up all my money, or God forbid someone in my family got sick. I would be back at that range. So of course, when I think about the future and how I could be on a yacht or this and that, it's hard for me to fully conceptualize this happiness behind achieving goals, even though I know I could be happy once I put the effort in. I don't know if anyone has seen Yellowstone, or at least that one scene. Beth, one of the characters, tells this young kid a universal truth about money. The only way you get nice things is 1, inherit it. 2, steal it. 3, you work really, really hard. Or 4, you marry into it. Most people won't inherit enough money in their lifetime to have a substantial difference. Next, stealing. Most people who scam in their life get caught. Also, stealing or being a thug is not for everyone, especially the person watching Minecraft self-help videos. Once you start, you have to watch over your back your entire life. Marrying gets old fast. Many people who marry just for money end up in a divorce a couple years later, or in a marriage where they have to make so many compromises because the other person has such an upper hand. Think about Steph Curry's wife or Bill Gates' ex-wife. This woman who maybe did or didn't marry only for money ended up with a husband who just didn't have enough time for them. Also, disclaimer, do not steal or do anything illegal or unethical. So do you see how hard work is essentially the only answer? The other three option again creates this state of equilibrium. There are equally as many pros and cons to each option. I think locking in is the only way to receive nice things, the only way to increase your value for the long term. Whether it's at the gym and becoming bigger, leaner, stronger, or whether it's at school studying 3 hours a night, whether it's on your business, the only way to get what you want is to become obsessed with it. First, we have to understand what money is actually used for. Why do you want more money? To look at it? To flex? To LARP? Money is a tool to help you get access to different places. It's like when you're playing Call of Duty Zombies and you unlock different rooms to get access to more guns that would do more damage to help you in the later part of the game. Money is supposed to unlock doors to help increase your value so that you can win in the later part of life. The secret of focusing is finding your biggest insecurities and doubling down on it. If you're very unattractive or you were bullied for your looks, maybe your lock-in isn't sitting at the library until 4 a.m. Maybe it's fashion. If you were left out of your social groups in school, maybe creating an online platform can help you. In order to lock in deeply, you have to want to change something, whether it's a personal change or an external change. Passion is love and hate together. If you don't focus, expect to clock into a job that supports someone else's dream. You're fixing someone else's insecurity. Locking in is for the special people who desperately need fulfillment out of their life. It should be only used seasonally, when you need to get something or when you're fixing your insecurities. Not out of fear, but in order to be a better human being. Your goal is to change the deficiencies that you developed in order for you to like yourself again. The problem with having an intense focus on something just to receive a goal is that once that goal is set, you may not have the discipline to start or continue with it. If your focus is to become a new person, locking in isn't going to offset the 20 to 30 years of programming your brain is induced in. Having focus on getting fit or creating a dropshipping account isn't going to fix most brain development. To actually get your life in order, you have to start with the small habits. I've read a couple books that have talked about habits, and the main theory is habit stacking. Essentially, you find a bad habit that you do, but before you do it, you find something that is healthy or a good habit. Let's just say I wanted to doom scroll on TikTok. Before I would do that, I would complete a chore like the dishes or cleaning the bathroom, or even go on a walk. You see, social media doesn't produce the same long, mid-term reward system that doing chores or light exercising does. You start small. Maybe it's one dish. Maybe it's stepping outside and sunbathing for a single minute. Then you scroll until your eyes burn. Do it more and more until your brain correlates going outside or doing the dishes with the reward system. This is called moderation. Moderation works differently than locking in. It's a little more perfect, I must say. When you randomly decide to delete your social media or stop looking at graphic stuff, your brain chases something else to fill the pleasure system. And when it can't find it, it gives up and goes back to what it knows is readily there. This can take a week for some people or 3 months for others, but eventually you'll hit your equilibrium again. Most people are locked in, and not on the goals that they want to achieve, but the habits that have kept them alive. These habits are holding you back. Here's how to actually change your life. 1. Find a goal based on an insecurity that you want to change. This will give you a small spark to start. 2. Grab a pen and paper. Find the easiest way to achieve this goal. Write it down. 3. Once you start, habit stack. Even if the habit is offsetting your goal. If your goal is to go to the gym, but you still crave Chipotle, then just go to the gym and eat Chipotle after. Eventually, once you get into the habit of going to the gym, you can slowly get off of Chipotle. 4. Transfer addictions. You know those people who can start on hard drugs, but then eventually go to cigarettes, and then eventually they're just addicted to caffeine? You want to do this with your bad habits. Stop the cold turkey. Willpower is something that can be learned, though it's not a skill. It's a muscle. It gets tired as it works harder, so there's less power for other things. If you have the willpower not to smoke as an addict, for example, you're less likely to have the willpower not to eat or get sugary foods. If you had the willpower to go to the gym 6 times last week, you might not have the power to go once this week. But if you force yourself to use willpower often, you build a muscle of it and eventually change the way you think. Once you've gotten into the groove, your brain is trained at helping you focus on a goal. Once you understand your emotional triggers, it's time to produce a new routine. Instead of feeling stressed and going straight home to smoke, go to the gym after work. Instead of binge eating junk food, try learning new recipes for healthy food. Instead of calling someone who doesn't love you, call your loved ones or create a better relationship with your friends. You then will see the same reward system for a different routine. The cure of stress or boredom or loneliness. Unfortunately, habits are never fully destroyed. Once a habit is ingrained in your mind, it'll take a long time or a lot of willpower to destroy it. Focusing on one thing or obsessing and being a perfectionist for the rest of your life isn't the great lock-in. It's delusion. It's borderline mental illness. If you want to lock in, that's fine, but the obsession period shouldn't be for the rest of your life. It should be for the moment you finally decide you deserve better. The best way to lock in is to change your habits slowly. Do not think by over-consuming good habits and cutting and doing cold turkey that you'll become a better person. Oftentimes, you'll just fall back into the same habits, the same routine, because your body is so used to the pleasure and the reward system that you've given it.